after today, when somebody says, what business are you in? I hope you'll look them in the eye and say, well, actually, we're in the customer business. Not the customer service business. We're in the customer business. Because we say that because we know that our business will succeed. Your business will succeed only if you attract, make money from, and retain customers. That's it. I own businesses. I'm on the board of businesses. I know that the only way they're going to succeed is if we attract, make money from, and retain customers. In 35 years, I've found no other way of succeeding in business without doing those three things. So it seems to me pretty clear we're in the customer business. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Brooksy, then anybody who's in business could say they're in the customer business. And I would say, well, yes, they could. And indeed, they should, because if you are in business, you will succeed only by attracting, making money from, and retaining customers. We're all in the customer business. The way we do it differs. You know, you do it by retailing things to people, and I do it by making people's lives miserable, and the hotel here does it by providing accommodation and catering and meeting facilities. We have different means of doing it, but the end is the same. It's to have profitable customers who stay with us for a long time. That's the aim for all of us in business. Now, as a clinical psychologist, I know that one of the traps that people fall into is they think about what they do and they forget who they do it for. And that's a very, very dangerous thing to do if you're in business for this one simple reason. This one basic truth, this incontrovertible fact. 100% of your profits come from your customers. In fact, unless you're losing money or borrowing to expand, 100% of your revenue comes from your customers. Every dollar necessary to run your business, your brand, your shop, comes from your customers. To pay the rent, to buy the fittings, to get the fantastic stock in there, to put on promotions and advertisements, to hire wonderful people like you. That money comes from your customers. So why would we think we're in any business other than the customer business? Here are three interesting questions to ask yourself or people who aren't here, but we see them at work tomorrow. Who pays your wages? And the answer is the customer. So who do you work for? So the answer is the customer. If they're paying your wages, that's who you work for. So who's the boss? The customer. Because if that's who you work for, that's who the boss is. Now you tell me this. As customers yourselves, how often when you go shopping do you get the feeling that the person who's serving you understands that you, the customer, are paying their wages, are the person they work for, or is the boss? Does that ever happen? No. Never. But if our customers felt that we understood that, then they would see us as being a pretty different kind of retailer. You know, and it's not just about the money. Imagine if all of our customers disappeared tonight. But somehow we secured some funding to continue operating for a couple of years. What would life be like? Well, for the next 3 weeks, it would be fantastic. You'd be able to get in there and do all of those jobs you've wanted to do, but couldn't get done because you were interrupted by these goddamn customers. And for 3 weeks, and you'd also be able to have cups of coffee and chat with your mates and find out all about their life. It would be great. But about 3 weeks after that, you'd begin to wonder why you had done all those jobs. Because nobody ever comes in to see this lovely display, to see this new stock, to try out the new system. And although you like the people you work with, let me tell you, after 3 weeks of drinking coffee and listening to them, it would get boring as hell. Because we're interesting, but we're not that interesting, you know. And so after about 6 weeks, you'd think, I don't want to be here. So our customers are not just the source of all our money. They're our reason to exist, at least at work. Here, think about this. This is a crazy idea. Think about this. Imagine that you discovered that there was somebody in your life who loved you so much that every month they put a sum of money into your bank account equal to what you and your partner currently put in. Every month it was there, month after month after month. After about a year, maybe you started to trust that this was just going to continue to happen. So tough as it may be, you'd resign your job. And you'd spend your life enjoying yourself, pursuing your interests. And then one day, several months after that, you get a telephone call. And it's from the person who puts the money into your bank account. And they say, "Hi, I'd like to come and visit you next week." What would your reaction be? Well, I don't think you'd say, "Well, I'm kind of busy next week. In fact, the next 2 weeks after." How are you placed in June? I don't think so. I don't think you'd even say, "Well, yeah, next week's okay, but it would have to be Wednesday afternoon, otherwise I'm busy." I think it would be, "When would suit you? I'd love to see you. Come whenever you like." So once you'd fix the time, what would you do between the phone call and the time that they're supposed to come? Well, I reckon you'd mow the lawn and you'd sweep the path and you'd wash the car and you'd clean the house inside and out. And on the day that they were supposed to come, you'd put the kids in the bathtub, you'd scrub them red, you'd towel them dry, you'd put them in their finest clothes, you'd line them up and say, "On your best behavior, mate, or on your bike." Some of you ladies would send the old man to the pub for the afternoon just to lift the tone of the place, eh? Because you want to put your best foot forward. When it was time for the person to come, where would you be? At the other end of your house, with a TV cranked up, watching some soap? And when you finally did hear the doorbell ring, would you yell out, "We're sorry, we're busy right now, but your visit is important to us and you're number 4 in the queue"? I don't think so. I think you'd be right behind that door. And you'd hear the pitter-patter of feet coming up the path, and before they could knock the door, you would open it, and there would be a big smile on your face, and you would say, "Hello, how lovely to see you," and you would mean it. You would invite them in. If they had a coat, you would hang it up. You would give them the best chair in the house. You would see if they would like something to drink or something to eat. When they spoke, you would listen. And you would show you were listening by nodding your head and saying, You would ask questions to show that you are interested in what they are talking about. And if they said something you didn't agree with, you wouldn't say, "Well, that's not right." You just kind of nod and smile. If they said, "Well, what do you think?" you'd be so tactful and so polite and so respectful because this person is your benefactor. Well, that's what customers are. They're your benefactors. We just don't have a one-to-one correspondence between one customer and your paycheck. But without them, I can tell you, there would be no paychecks. So maybe we should start thinking about that person who walks into your store tomorrow morning as being your benefactor and treating them as you would any other benefactor you were lucky enough to have in your life.